Hello, this is SJ Talks Sunlight coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. I did a video talking about titled "Single Women or Single Mothers Are Not Good Women." That's what it's titled. I'm gonna tag that. I'm gonna uh, link that video up to this one. If you haven't had a chance to look at that one, look at that one. This is kind of like in direct correlation to that one. In that video, I talked about single fathers. I briefly talked about single fathers. How, they always talking about single mothers and always bashing single mothers and talking about these men are always hollering and going on and on about how they would hook up with no single mother. Because I was on this channel called Ask an Older Man. And he was doing a video talking about single mothers, and these guys were coming in and they were just going in on single mothers, saying that. And I really hate it when they say, and I make sure I get them together, when they be saying single mothers are only good for sex and all that kind of stuff. I hate that. I hate that. And if I hear somebody saying that, then I no. You know what? If you don't deal with single mothers, and I did a video a long time ago talking about this, if you don't date single mothers, leave them alone. Do not go to bed with them. Don't sleep with them. Just leave them alone, period. If you don't want to date a single mother, okay. Well, then don't go to bed with them. Because single mothers don't need that. Single mothers do not need their heart and emotions to be played with, And single mothers are not just good for sex. No woman should be getting used, period. Period. You should not be using and taking advantage of any woman, or no woman should be getting used specifically for sex, but that's what a lot of men do. And I hate it when they say that about single mothers. I hate that. The single mothers are only good for one thing, and no, that just grinds my gears. No, if you don't want to date a single mother, leave single mothers alone, period. Don't sleep with them. Don't do nothing with them. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Go date women that don't have kids. Go be with women that don't have kids. Don't get involved with a single mother, sexually or any other way, if you don't want to date them. But a lot of these men have that mindset, and that's something that single mothers have to look out for. But anywho, I was talking about in that video how they always going on about single mothers, but women that don't have children, that marry men, get involved with men that do have children. That's something that is not talked about. See, single fathers are no prize. Single fathers are not a prize. Okay? Y'all is not a prize. I don't know why y'all running around here thinking that y'all is a prize. Y'all not. Single fathers are not the prize. Okay? You're always talking about, and a lot of these men that be talking about single mothers are single fathers themselves. They got the nerve. You created a single mother. How dare you sit there and bash a single mother when you created a single mother? But what I was talking about in that video was, and I'm going to expand further on that. When a single woman that has no children hooks up with a man that has children, and she happens to marry this man, I wouldn't recommend a woman that don't have children. I wouldn't recommend dating a man or marrying a man that has children unless he only has a couple of kids. If he has a couple of kids, one baby mama's good, two is pushing it, But I would not recommend. No woman should be hooking up with a man that has multiple baby mamas. He's not a good catch for anybody, not even a single mother. But oh well, that's they say about us. Well, they're no prize either. And so, but the problem is, because I was, when I hooked up with my oldest son's dad, I had no children. I hadn't had any kids at that point. I was pretty young. I was, you know, 21 when I hooked up with him. Well, I was with him before, but I'm not going into that. But I was 21 when I hooked up. No, I was not. No, I was 20. I was 20 when I hooked up with him, but I had my son, our oldest son, at 22. And he had, at the time when I hooked up with him, he had uh, 3 baby mamas. Yeah, he had 3 baby mamas when I hooked up with him. And, I'm so young. At the time, I was so young that I just did not see that as problematic. I was so young at the time. When you're 20 years old, you only know what you know. And I did not connect the dots, and I did not see that as problematic at that particular time in my life. I was so young, I just didn't see that as problematic. But it was. I was, a woman that had no children, hooking up with a man that had 3 baby mamas. And the children that he had, now I'm not bashing him. But I'm just speaking the facts. I'm speaking the truth. The children that he had, he wasn't really in their lives like he should have been. He wasn't really in their lives like he should have been. Okay? Because I'm finding myself having to tell him, you need to get in their lives more, this and that and the other, spend time with your kids. I'm telling them this at 20 years old. Didn't dawn on me that, well, this man is not displaying, he's not being a good father to the children that he already has. And you see that, then if you have a child by him, he may not be a good father to yours. I just wasn't thinking that. Like I said, I was 20 years old. I totally missed it on that. I did not think about that at all. Period. This did not occur to me. And then I got pregnant with my oldest son. And he wasn't in my oldest son's life like he should have been. I became baby mama number 4. Because he already had 3 baby mamas. I became baby mama number 4. Okay, so, and that's the problem. When you hook up with, that's one of the issues. That's one of them. There's some other ones. When you hook up with a man, when you're a woman, single woman that has no children, and you hook up with a man that has children, then 9 times out of 10, you may become baby mama number whatever. Particularly if he got multiple baby mamas, then you're going to become a baby mama too. Okay? So that's one reason why you shouldn't hook up with a man that has children by multiple, particularly by multiple mothers. And then if you see that he is not really being a good father to the children that he already has, that's something that women have to pay very close attention to. Particularly if you have no children yourself and you hooking up with this man, you got to pay very close attention to that if he's not being a good father to the children that he already has, will make you think that when you have his kid, he's going to be a good father to yours. Because more oftentimes than not, when they already have children and they're not a good father to the children that they already have, and then you have a baby by them, they ain't going to be a good father to yours either. You're not the exception to the rule. You're not special. Your child is not going to be special. So that's another reason why a single mother that has no children should not hook up with a man that's one reason to have children. Second of all, if a single woman that don't have any children happens to marry, in a lot of cases they do marry men that have children. Well, first of all, if he's paying child support for those children, then if you marry this man, and okay, well, that's going to affect you guys' income. That's going to affect income that's coming into y'all household, because a portion of his earnings is going to support his children, which so they should. He should be taking care of his kids. But that's something to take into consideration if you're a single woman and you don't have children. That's something to take into consideration. That if you marry this man, a portion of your earnings is going to, and his income, because y'all income is together. Even if you're working outside the home, okay, y'all income is together. It's all going in the same pot, you know. A portion of his salary is going to go towards supporting his child support bill. And then if you file taxes and you file those taxes jointly, you file them together, then if he's behind on that child support, guess what they're going to do? They're going to take y'all tax money. I've heard of too many times where that has happened, where woman married a man that had kids, and he was behind in that child support, and they filed them taxes. They snatched them taxes. They will snatch those taxes. They will snatch them. And then so that's going to affect you. That's going to affect you, particularly if you go on to have children by him yourself. That's going to affect the y'all income, and then the money that y'all got going on for y'all child or children. So that's something to think about. And then what if he's got baby mama drama? What if even if he got one baby mama, or worst case scenario, he got more than one baby mama, and she don't, and you got some of these baby mamas that might have had a problem with old boy moving on, and he might have to deal with baby mama drama. If he dealing with baby mama drama, then that's going to affect y'all relationship. That's going to affect your relationship with him, and y'all relationship and all that. Yeah, that's something to think about. You a single woman that had no kids and you hooking up with a single father, that's something to think about. That's questions that you have to ask yourself. What is his relationship? And sometimes these old sneaky devils will still be hooking up with the mother of their children. Yes, that happens. Now, I had a policy. Once you become a baby daddy and you ain't in my life, no more cookies for you. That was my policy. Me and my oldest son's dad broke up. It was no more cookies for him, because the lines get too blurred. They still be thinking that y'all hooked up, that he got some claim on you, because no. The lines get too blurred. So women make a huge mistake, but that's a whole nother video. But sometimes these guys be still having relations with their baby mama. That's something that you got to think about right there too. That's something that the manosphere never talks about. They always popping off about single mothers all the time. Single mothers this and single mothers that, with their baby daddies. They always popping off about single mothers and the baby daddies and this and that. Always popping off about that. But what they don't talk about is that these men that had these babies by these women, they still be hooking up with their baby mama. Unless she draws the line and put her foot down and say, no more cookies for you. You my baby daddy, let's co-parent and leave it at that. We not together no more, leave it at that. No more cookies for you. Some women, I drew the line, but some women don't draw the line. They don't put their foot down on that. So the door is still open there. So that's something that a woman has to think about. When you have no children, you're hooking up with a man that has children, you got to think about that. What is the relationship that he got with that baby mama? That's something you need to pay very close attention to before you even consider marrying such a man. If that relationship is toxic, then you cut your losses. Move on. Because then, sometimes a lot of times they got problems with the woman. That woman is still salty. She may still have feelings for that man. And if that relationship with that baby mama or baby mamas is toxic, it may say a lot about his character. He try to make it sound like, oh, everything is men, they only tell one side. When they talk about their past relationships, it always talk about the woman and what she's doing, but they never talk about what they do, what they're doing to perpetuate the situation. So they're never going to tell you what they're doing to perpetuate the situation. So if you see that relationship with that baby mama or baby mamas is toxic, cut your losses. You don't need that, because if you have a kid by this man, it's going to be a big mess. It's going to be a big issue. See, that's something that the manosphere never talks about. They always make it sound one-sided. You hook up with a single mother, you're going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to deal with her baby daddies. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to deal with that. That woman may not want you around her kid. And I've heard of cases like that too. I've heard of cases where the baby mama didn't want the new girlfriend or the wife around her child. So she restricted the visitation. So she would cut the man off from his child because of the simple fact that she don't want the child around his new woman or wife for whatever reason. She don't want that. Her child might be because she's jealous or whatever the situation is. So she might restrict his visitation because of that. A woman should never do that, but there's women out here that do that. So this is something, as a single woman that don't have children, if you're even considering a relationship with or marriage with a man that has children, these are things that you need to check out beforehand. There's issues, and there's issues on both sides. But the manosphere always wants you to think that it's one-sided. It's not one-sided, because a lot of women that don't have children got to deal, hooking up with a man that has kids, got to deal with some of these same issues. And then there's no guarantee that kid's going to like you. That child may not like you. What if his child don't like you? What if you brings the child around and you're the stepmama and that child don't like you? Like they say, oh, her kids will say, you not my daddy. Well, that child could say, you not my mama. That goes both ways. Y'all have to do what you say do, because you ain't my mama. You ain't none of my mama. Yes. Or they go back and tell their mama that you did this. And what if that child don't like you? And they go back and tell that mama that you did certain things or said certain things. And that child could be lying because they don't like you. And then the baby, and it'll cause drama between the baby mama, your man, and his baby mama, because the child then went back and lied on you behind your back. Oh yes, it happens to women too. That kind of stuff just don't happen to men. It happens to women too. But the manosphere never talks about that. These are things that never talks about. They always talking. It's always make everything one-sided. It's not one-sided, because women that don't have children and hooking up with men that have kids have to deal with some of these same issues. They have to deal with the same issues. So when a woman that don't have any children, if you consider hooking up with a man that has kids, you gotta keep those things in mind, because those I didn't think about it. There was no baby mama drama. But when I hooked up with my oldest son's dad, but it was no baby mama drama. But he wasn't, he wasn't in his kid's life like he should have been, and that should have been a red flag for me. I'm not bashing him. I'm just speaking the facts. It should have been a red flag. That should have been a major red flag for me. But it went over my head. At 20, you only know what you know, okay? Just didn't think about it. You only know what you know at 20. So That's something to think about when you're a woman that don't have any children. You're hooking up with a man that has kids. These are the things that you have to think about. These are the things that you have to take into serious consideration even before you get emotionally invested in this man. Because if you're dealing with a man that has kids, sure, you want to have a good relationship with his children. Why, if you're with this man, you want to have a good relationship with his children. You would like to, but you can't help it if the child doesn't like you. If the child doesn't like you, then it's not nothing you can do about it. What if the child don't like you? And that's something to think about. And if that man is not a good father to his children that he already has, you shouldn't even be dating a man. Shouldn't even be dating such a man. You shouldn't even be dating him. Shouldn't even be dating him. So, these single fathers are not no prize. They're not a prize like they portray themselves to be. And some of them have the nerve to talk about how they wouldn't mess with single mothers as well. Women that don't have no children shouldn't be hooking up with you either. Unless things are, unless everything is straight. Unless everything is straight, you ain't got no back child support. You got a decent relationship with the child's mother, co-parenting relationship. You got a good co-parenting. She got to look into all those things beforehand. But I wouldn't recommend a single woman that don't have kids hooking up with a man that has children. I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe if he has one, and that relationship with that baby mama or ex-wife or whatever it is good. There's a lot of things that you have to think about before even proceeding with such a relationship. But what the manosphere red pill wants you to think and wants you to believe, they want you to believe that it's one-sided. That there's issues with single mothers, dating single mothers, but there's also issues with dating single fathers, with a woman that don't have children. And there's lots of women out here that don't have kids. Lots of black women out here, believe it or not, that don't have I know quite a few of them. I got some in my family that don't have children. There's quite a few black women out here that don't have children. But they can't never seem to keep us single mothers out of their mouth. If you don't want to date a single mother, then don't date one. It's just that simple. You don't have to bash single mothers. But I already talked about that. But you know what I'm saying. But there's issues on both sides. There's potential issues on both sides. But that's something that the manosphere and red pill will never talk about. Ask an older man, now you talk about that. Ask an older man, talking about women hitting a wall and you're old yourself. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you talk about the issues with these baby daddies out here, with these women that don't have children that's messing with these baby daddies? You talk about that. Talk about that on your channel. Because it goes both ways. Okay, hit me up in that comment section. It just grinds my gears. Then that's something that I haven't really talked about that I need to touch base on. So hit me up in that comment section, men. I don't have a problem with you sharing your opinions, but be respectful about it. Don't come up in here bashing me, and don't come up in here bashing no single mothers. I'll block you. I'll block you. I'll delete your comment. Be nice. Be nice with your comments. But y'all know I'm telling the truth. Okay, hit that like, subscribe, and share. And until the next video, be blessed.